Hello everyone, Alicia here with another Lightened Up Weight Watcher friendly recipe, and today I'm getting ready to do my breakfast prep, which is going to be for protein raspberry white chocolate scones. Now I have a couple other scone recipes on my channel already, but today I thought it'd be fun to do kind of a raspberry white chocolate version. These are great for breakfast, they're great for dessert, whenever you want to have them. They've got a high amount of protein. So I just really love these scones, and I thought I would show you how I'm going to do these raspberry white chocolate ones today. I'll be sure to have links to my I have at least 2 others on my channel if you want to check out a couple different varieties. But these sounded good. They sound perfect for spring. So let me start off by showing you what you're going to need to make them. First off, for the raspberries, I'm going to be using fresh, and I'm just going to be using this whole container, the 6-ounce container. This ends up being right around a cup. And then for the white chocolate in these, I'm going to be using these Lily's white chocolate style baking chips, 2 ounces of those. You're going to need some fat-free Greek yogurt. I really love this Folier. This is the one I use for pretty much everything. You're going to need a cup, though, of a fat-free Greek yogurt. Back here, I've got some self-rising flour. You're going to need 2 cups of that. You're going to need 2 large eggs, 1 for the scones and 1 to baste the tops with. And here I've got 2 tablespoons of butter. I weighed this out and then I put it in my freezer because you want your butter to be very cold for these. That just kind of helps with the rising process. Here I've got 3 tablespoons of unsweetened almond milk. You can use whatever type of milk you want though. You're gonna need a teaspoon vanilla extract, a tablespoon baking powder. For sweetener in these, I'm using the Lakanto with allulose, the classic. I'm going to be using a 1/4 cup. And then here for a little added protein, I'm going to be adding in a scoop of this Isopure 0 carb protein powder. You can use whatever type you like. That is just our preferred protein powder. You're also going to need a little bit of cooking spray for your pan, and then also probably for your hands because this dough is very, very sticky. And then finally, a little bit of sparkling white sugar. I'm going to be using 2 teaspoons of this to sprinkle on the top. And that is everything that's going to be in these. So let me get it started. First off, in a large bowl, I'm going to add in my 2 cups self-rising flour, scoop of protein powder, 1/4 cup sweetener, and tablespoon baking powder. Then I'm going to just whisk or stir all of that together. Okay, now I'm going to set this aside and grab myself a small bowl, and I'm going to add in my cup Greek yogurt, my 3 tablespoons almond milk, large egg, and my teaspoon vanilla extract. Then I'm going to whisk this all together until it's well combined. And I also have my oven preheating to 425 right now. I've got this all whisked together. So now I'm going to grab my flour mixture again. And to that, I'm going to add in my butter. And again, you want that very, very cold. Then you're going to take a pastry cutter and you're going to just kind of cut that into the flour until you've got little pieces of butter left, like pea-sized or a little smaller. And that's part of why you want your butter to be really, really cold. You want to end up with little pieces of butter that are going to still be in the dough when you're baking this. And then that butter is going to melt as these scones bake. It's going to create steam, which is going to create little pockets of air. And that's going to make your scones lighter than they otherwise would be. So that's kind of the whole point of using the butter. A lot of the time most of the time I don't use butter. I use a light butter spread. But in this type of application, that butter just works best. So I just used a little bit, a whole lot less than what you would typically use in scones, but it's still gonna do the trick or help these get a little lighter and fluffier. So I'm gonna continue working this until I've got that butter all kind of broken up in here. And also, if you don't have a pastry cutter, you could do this with a fork. It doesn't really matter what you use, as long as you're gonna end up with little pieces of butter when you're done. All right, I've got that butter worked in here pretty well. Let's see if I can find a little piece to kind of give you an idea of what the size should be. About like that, a little smaller too. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make a well in this, just in the center here. And I'm gonna pour my wet ingredients in. And then I'm gonna stir this together until my dough looks kind of shaggy. Kind of like that. Now I'm gonna grab my raspberries, which I've washed and drained. I'm gonna add those in, along with my 2 ounces of white chips. And I'm gonna gently fold those in. And these raspberries are gonna probably get pretty crushed, but that's okay. Just kind of try and be as gentle as you can. But I'm gonna just kind of fold all this in until it's incorporated, and then also I'm not seeing a lot of the dry ingredients anymore. All right, here's how we're looking. I've got this mostly folded together, not a lot of dry showing at all. So now I'm gonna grab myself a piece of parchment paper. I'm gonna add my dough to it. I'm gonna take my cooking spray and I'm gonna spray my hands because this dough is gonna be really sticky. So it's just gonna make that easier to work with. And I'm gonna just press this dough out into a rectangular shape about 1 inch thick. And now I'm gonna fold it from one end, kind of to the middle, and then the other end, the same thing. And again, this dough is very sticky, so just kind of do the best that you can. And now that I've got that folded over, I'm gonna press it back out into a rectangular, the opposite direction, or rectangular shape, I should say, the opposite direction. I'm gonna fold it from the end to the middle, and the other end to the middle. And then press out one final time to a rectangular shape of about 1 inch thick. And if you've got to reapply cooking spray, which I probably should, you can do that too. And basically the folding process for this gets everything mixed together without over kneading this dough. All right, here is my final shape. Now, as I always say when I show these scones, you can cut them into whatever shape you like. I just find it easy to just do a rectangle and cut them into kind of squares. So I'm gonna grab a cutting board, slide that under there so I can cut these. So I just cut them in half, half again, and then half again. Now I'm going to take a jelly roll size pan, or a 10 by 15 roughly, and I'm going to spray it with a little cooking spray. Put down a piece of parchment, and then spray that with cooking spray as well. Now I'm going to just lay my scones on here. And again, do the best you can picking these up because they're very messy. But you want to lay them on here about 1 inch apart. All right, I've got those on there. Now I'm going to grab my last egg and I'm going to get that lightly beaten up. So I've got that beaten. I'm going to take a basting brush here and I'm going to just baste these with my egg. And this is just going to add a nice golden look to these when they're done. And now I'm going to take my sparkling sugar here and I'm going to add a little bit to the tops of these. Again, I'm using about 2 teaspoons. Now I'm going to bake these at 425 Fahrenheit for about 15 to 22 minutes. It's going to depend on your oven, your bakeware, your elevation, all that good stuff. What you're looking for is just for them to be nice and golden. They're going to be set, so kind of firm to the touch. But I will be back once these are done and show you what they look like. I let these bake for 18 minutes. They are looking and smelling done. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna let them sit here for about 5 minutes until they cool down enough for me to remove them to a wire rack to cool the rest of the way. So I'll be back at that point and I'll give you points and we'll give them a taste. So I'll see you in a little bit. I let these cool down pretty much completely. Again, I just moved them to the wire rack after they sat for about 5 minutes. So they're totally cool. The points on them, for one scone, it's gonna be 6 points. So we'll go ahead and give these a try and let you know what we think of them. All right. Got my husband here. Say hello.
Hello.
I'm gonna break that open, show what it looks like inside. Okay. Give it a smell. I know, they smell good, huh?
Mm-hmm. Real fresh.
Scony scone. Got a little tiny bit here.
And obviously, you have different versions of this that I've enjoyed.
Mm-hmm. Mm.
What did you make the other day? And I can't remember now what it was. Was it raspberry something?
I did a raspberry lemon baked oatmeal.
Yeah.
That was really good.
That was really good. So that's what this is reminding me of.
I know that kind of like inspired me to do the raspberry scones because that baked oatmeal was so good.
Yeah.
With the raspberries.
Yeah.
I'll link that up above and down below too. That's good, huh?
Yeah, so it's really, it's super light, bright flavor with the lemon and the raspberry.
Well, there's no lemon in these.
Oh, with the raspberry. What is this stuff?
That's egg.
Oh.
That I based
you can
it on
understand my
there.
confusion.
Yeah, no, I can. And I can see why you could almost taste lemon.
Yeah, my brain, my taster's going, oh, there's lemon in there.
No, there's not. Now I'm doing lemon bars.
Yeah, so the tartness of the raspberry is really nice, and then the scone body is very savory.
Yeah,
So it's a nice balance.
that scone basic base is really good.
Yeah.
But I like I didn't get any chocolate, the white chocolate in my little bite, but I got the raspberry and it pairs really well with those, which I figured it would. But yeah, those are good. So 6 points. A little higher than the other ones because they've got the chocolate in them.
I mean, you could grab that for like an on-the-go breakfast.
Yes.
It'd go real good with coffee.
That's what these are this week is breakfast.
You could have it for dessert.
Yes, and I said that as well because I don't eat breakfast. So when I do breakfast every week, it's usually my dessert or snack or something. But yeah, nice, easy, quick breakfast, dessert. But they're really good, and they've got a good amount of protein in them as well. Keep you full, so
Yeah.
winner.
Yeah, those are really good.
All right, guys. Well, that was white chocolate raspberry scones. I will be sure to have the other ones that I've done. I've done at least 2 other videos listed up above and down below in the description box, as well as down in the description box. Be sure to check down there for the full list of ingredients, instructions, www recipe builder link, calories, macros, all the info is going to be down in that description box. But thank you as always for watching, and we will see you on the next one.